first thing that I'm going to comment is last year I made really useless predictions. Sorry, Lennon. Yeah, last year I made some really not great predictions. So what I've put together are the ones that repeat themselves, yeah, on an ongoing basis. And for me, these are the things I would study first and last. If no, when, because if they don't give us a macro environmental analysis or ask us to analyze at least three different areas of the macro environment that will impact the selected organization in the case study, I would be very surprised. But nothing surprises me anymore, and that's the problem. So, guys, for me, the non-negotiable is the first one in terms of the macro environment. So you'll remember I shared where the answers are. I don't know if everyone at this stage has got hold of my slides. I would hope that you have. My slides are pretty decent. Oh, sorry, I did have the answer in one of these. Right, so in terms of the macro environment, people are still joining us. These are the options that I've had in the past in terms of this. So I've shared this with you. I think for me, this is, sorry guys, my family are talking as if I don't have class tonight. This to me is a non-negotiable. If you look at these pestle factors, absolutely, Chrissy, every learning unit gets covered. Yeah, absolutely. I think Kim has got it, but I think we shared it previously, but I'll share it again. So guys, this is the first one to look at. Please make sure that you simply use these introductory words, because when you do this kind of analysis, these are the key elements under each of those pestle factors that you have to look at. So a pestle analysis would look at government policy in terms of how good it is for a business, how pro-business, how anti-business, what the policy is in terms of protecting local businesses, the policy around competition, etc. So when you look at this, you will get a clear idea of what to write. And for me, this is non-negotiable. You could use this when you do a SWOT analysis, and obviously the OT side of a SWOT analysis in real world situations when you do strategic planning exercises. So this to me is a non-negotiable. You have to, when you see this question, is get 100% for your pestle analysis. So what they'll do is they'll have one of the case studies and they'll then ask you to do a pestle analysis within South Africa with regard to that particular one. This to me is the ideal to use. Courtney, I don't think we want you to go into that detail, because I think you're going to waste time studying things that aren't important. So you can just say, excessive unemployment levels, but those kinds of stats, we're not going to ask you to be that specific. If this were an assignment, yes, then we would. Okay, please don't study, but be able to write about different unemployment levels, write about political stability, talk about tax policies, labor law, trade restrictions. We know all these things. So this to me is a non-negotiable in terms of pestle. My prediction is that you will see a pestle one in every single one of the exams that I've ever marked. There has been pestle, and that included the SUPs as well. I don't know what you think about the pestle, and I've been doing this for about 14 years, guys, and I've never
I definitely would agree.
a pestle analysis.
Pestle and porters, I definitely would
pestle
say.
And porters.
Pestle and porters, that's what I've told my students, pestle and porters. my online full-time campus as well, Pestle and Porters. If you look at all the papers across, I've also been lecturing it for quite a few years on the full-time campus. Pestle and Porters, they love to use.
Yeah, guys. So for me, these ones here are non-negotiable. When you see these, and they generally count quite a bit in terms of the exam. These are your Ponsella questions. You have to get 100% for them from a theory perspective and an application perspective. The industry analysis, Porter's five forces. Guys, again, you should know the Porter's five forces by now because you would have seen it in first year. I'm pretty sure you guys do it in second year as well. In terms of Porter's analysis, and again, I'm quite happy to share my slides if you guys want. I know that there was an instruction that people can't hand out slides, but my understanding is that it's about getting you to engage differently with the learning. So my slides are available, and they're available from M. I think M has
Yeah, I've made all my slides available as
as
well to students. They've got everything, all the same access. I totally believe in slides.
Okay, so and the slides are comprehensive, guys. So in terms of the industry analysis, the guarantee that we've had in the past couple of years will be this here, the bargaining power of buyers, and obviously this is the influence that customers have over a particular organization. Also, when you have a significantly big customer, that customer can negotiate tough in terms of prices. So the first one that we have to look at is the bargaining power of buyers. And then, yeah, sorry, I've skipped too far. And then the major one, and this generally sits at the center of the at the center of the model, will always be competition. So guys, what we've seen in terms of each of the past papers is that they ask you to identify the competition. So some of it is supposed to be common knowledge. So for example, if they said to you, Amazon, we know the competition will be, for example, Take a Lot and Loot and other online places. But you need to be aware of those, guys. So these are direct competitors. These are competitors that are in the ring with Jess. I'm quite happy. I don't know how to. We can figure that out after, Jess. Who are you with? Who's your lecturer?
I think she's with Theo. I saw her in the other group talk about
Okay.
Theo.
Yeah, guys, just send me WhatsApps. I'll load it onto the WhatsApps. Okay. I know I'm gonna get bombarded, but that's fine. Okay. Just my number is here, just here, 0836557572. Okay, you can just send me WhatsApps, those of you that want my slides. Okay, Gaston, you have got the slides because I know you're going to send me slides now. Right. So in terms of the first one, know some of the competitors in terms of the case studies that are there, guys. Even if you have to do a bit of research into those case studies, just see what the competitors are.
Can I just
In
also
terms
add, it's a bit
of,
of logic. Like it's a bit of logic. That's what I always tell my students. Just actually think about it. Like
yeah,
I remember last year was the case studies were MTN, Pick and Pay, and Seattle. Like it's brands that all of us
yeah,
would know. We're hoping that it's quite familiar brands and just some logic and who their
yeah.
competition, like exactly like you're saying. But just actually think about it. It's really not that hard if you use a bit of logic with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, guys. But if you are concerned that you're not going to know all of them, but it is logic. I think all these companies they've given us, you have a pretty good idea of who the competitors are. But think about this beforehand, because you do not want to sit in the exam and panic yourself senseless. The time for this exam runs out very, very rapidly. My full-time class will bear me out in terms of the test, how absolutely rapidly the time went in the test. So please make sure that these kinds of things you can just it's a 2-hour test. Remember, we go a mark a minute. So if you think of a mark a minute, that's a heck of a lot. Yeah, so it's a mark a minute, and the mark a minute concept is actually quite scary if you think. But that's why we prepare beforehand. Guys, in terms of reading the instructions, and I've told my students this as well, please read the instructions with a highlighter in your hand. So that you can highlight the key questions. Please read the questions first and then the case. But make sure that you're aware of what is where. There's only 10 minutes of reading time. Maximize what you can get out of that reading time. I hope that campuses are allowing you to have a highlighter in your hand when you read through it, because I think I've arranged with my campus, but I'm not sure what will happen at the other campuses. Okay, Himisha, it's not the end of the world. Honestly, you've done this your entire career. You did it in second year. Think of how busy the second year, second semester exam was. There's no difference between this and that. This is just more application, okay, and an overall case study. You guys, don't worry about this. You've got this. Okay, guys, in terms of rivalry between competitors, be able to write some of these elements, guys, the number of existing, where the industry is in terms of a growth rate. You can have a look at this. We don't expect you to know all of those. If you can write about one or two of those as part of the theory, you will get your marks. Okay, but know the answer off by heart. You shouldn't be fussing and trying to remember in this question. With the pestle and this is where you are going to chew up time. You want to get as much done in as little time, because there will be more difficult questions than these. Guys, the next one there is the threat of new entrants. Yeah, so we constantly look at new entrants coming in, and if we were doing this preparation last year, I would have told you about Amazon wanting to come into South Africa, because that is the threat back then. But we have tons of online sites, for example, springing up, which will be in direct competition, for example, with Takealot. But be aware that these are there. And again, tell us why it's so difficult for new entrants to come in, because, getting experience, getting through the experience curve, what might the locals do, etc. The next one is threat of substitutes. Yeah, so in terms of product for product substitution, people sometimes confuse this with competitors. People sometimes confuse this to as part of new or existing competitors. Guys, remember, in terms of products, for example, Uber is a substitute for metered taxis, is a substitute for example, overall taxis. Uber is a substitute for bus services, for the train. So those are the kinds of things that you need to look at. When you look at competitors, those are the people within a particular industry. So Uber would be Bolt. What's the one where you negotiate the price of your, I know it's Bolt and Uber. I don't know what the others are. InDrive, thank you, because we live in Maritzburg. We barely have Uber here. Okay, guys. And
well,
then
in the Eastern Cape, we don't have InDrive. We're too far behind.
No, I just saw it on TV. Sorry, Nate, but you guys live in another world.
Rural Eastern Cape, we don't have fancy things like that.
Well, we ruled by the MK, so you must know. Sorry, I must stop there. Okay, guys, in terms of substitution of need, I think here it's where a new product kills all previous products. So your cell phone killed off, I don't know how many 100 products that would have been there in the past. And then generic substitution. We know that when money gets tight, people have to make a choice between, for example, buying new clothes and buying airtime. So here it's where do you allocate your budget? It's for students. I don't know what the competition in a student's life is. But
generic
it's
also
how
be
you
medication.
allocate.
Wouldn't generic, like an antibiotic, we have an original or a generic version of an antibiotic? Yeah. Or would you say,
you can think of it
would you
like
say
that,
generic
guys.
in terms
Now,
of
I
income?
think I don't think it's the same as that, maybe that will be product for product substitution. Here, it's for disposable income. We know that research has shown that money gets tight. People who are closer to the sort of lower middle income have to decide between buying airtime and buying clothes, for example. Guys, what is more important? Yeah, yeah. So it would be between Coke and, for example, bottled water, I suppose. Guys, what is more important, airtime or new clothes? Yeah, I was going to say booze, but I've been told to be more professional, guys. Yeah, no, those are competitors. Guys, what's more important, airtime or booze? Okay, airtime. Someone says airtime.
Single.
Data. Oh my gosh, my life is very different to yours, guys. And then, yeah, I've spoken about bargaining power of buyers. Yeah, and you can see in terms of suppliers, how many suppliers there are will determine how strong the suppliers are. And the fewer suppliers there are, boozer, that's why. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think in terms of bargaining power of suppliers, the first one, the fewer suppliers you have, or suppliers that provide stuff that they have patents for, it becomes very, very difficult to play those suppliers off against each other. In terms of switching costs, when you use a certain technology and you stuck with that technology and you can't switch to a different technology, it makes it very difficult. Forward vertical integration, I think you guys know what that is. It's where the supplier comes into competition and opens, for example, its website, or opens a factory shop or something like that. You can see lack of substitutes, and also depending on a single industry. Guys, yeah, we've not been asked this before, but I think the key thing in terms of these limitations, I'm always so scared when I make predictions. We've never been, yeah, that's exactly, Gaston. Very nice one there, where in terms of limitations, yeah, just remember these limitations are there, but it's still a model that we use frequently. I'm not going to go into that, guys. We've never been asked complementary relationships, but one of these days. But I think you guys know what a complementor is. It's something that allows you to use your item better. Jess, I think in terms of the points, let's, for example, say we are going to look at buyers. I would talk about power, and I'd say the power, the bargaining powers of buyers are determined by, for example, those two. If you give me those two, I'm going to give you full marks. If you give two for each, Jess, I don't know what you think about that.
You're talking to me?
I'm not expecting. If you, it's yeah. Sorry, Jess. Not Jess. Sorry. What am I saying? Sorry, guys.
I would
I'm
also
not
be happy
feeling
with
at the
that, as long
top
as
of
they
my
can
game.
explain it. So give some theory, but back.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's
Explain
many more
to.
marks for application at a third year level. So if they can apply it back to
Normally,
the
I get so
brand or
excited
back to
when
the
I just
industry.
see the right forces mentioned, guys. Sorry.
No, don't stress. I
Yeah.
separately to you.
Normally, I get excited when I see the right forces. So just give us two each, and that will guarantee you. Sorry, Gaston, I'm not feeling well, boyo. Minus 25. Mark, guys, if I'll ask the other lecturers if they get your paper to mark it very, very, very strictly. Guys, can I just say, normally when I send out WhatsApps to my group, I go, "Hi, my amazing group," and Gaston. So that will put it into context. Right. So, guys, those are non-negotiable for me. You see, and you have to study everything, but the first and the last, this one they've asked, but I see in the test that the supplementary test that the full-time students wrote, they threw another curveball. The moment we think that we can predict what is going to happen, we get something that we don't expect. And they asked in this one, describe the three approaches identified by Foster and Akderi that Vodacom needs to consider in developing a vision for the organization. So as much as we know it's going to be the mission statement, these guys will bowl a bouncer that we aren't expecting. But for me, if I had to prepare, I would know those 5 questions off by heart. I would certainly make sure that I'm able to write a mission statement that will address those 5 questions, guys. And yeah, so if we look at the mission statement here, but we've also seen in the past where they've asked the difference between a vision and strategic intent, but this tends to be the default question. So the questions are, why is an organization in business? So just tell us what product, service, the market they're aiming for, the tech that they use, if that is an important thing. So if you're online, what tech do you use? And economic goals, please don't ever write profitability. Profitability is bad taste to mention in a mission statement. So you'll just talk about the intention to be around for a long time, to survive. And then, yeah, in terms of operating philosophy, so it really is how the organization wants to be viewed and how it views itself. And then also what makes them unique from the competition, guys. And then, yeah, what customers do they serve as well? So what I've seen in terms of these past ones is that they ask you to write a mission statement that addresses each of those. Please make it easy for the lecturers when we mark it. Make sure that you indicate to us which element of your mission statement addresses what aspect of these questions. I don't know if that makes any sense, guys. So write your mission statement and then just link, even if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and write the questions down, and then go 1 and circle it above the mission statement where it's fitting 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll be okay with that, marking like that. Hey.
Yeah, very happy with that. Also, just a silly thing like
So
I've just marked assignments, line spacing, just give spacing in your paragraphs, not just like one page. It's much easier to mark if you like have a bit of spaces between, like a space between the writing, not just like one page of writing. I've seen so much of that now while marking.
Guys, each of us would end up marking about 100 papers, and you have to make it easier for us. Now, I know that handwriting is going to be an issue, but just make it easier. Use paragraphs. Don't give us a paper that looks like it's been rolled by a roller that prints out blue ink in different forms and shapes. So make it easy for us to read as well, because I promise you, we are hit by a wave of marking. And yeah, hopefully I get Gaston's to mark as well, obviously. Right, any questions around this one, guys? So if you want to pre-prepare, if we want to pre-prepare, look at the case studies that are there, or just write a generic mission statement. Oh gosh, good luck failing. Good luck passing, Nate. I think just write a generic mission statement, and you can just plug in the detail depending on. Well, Steph, um, yeah, paragraphs and short sentences, guys. Full stops are your friend, and also please just use paragraphs, Steph. Yeah, it's not that wild. We see it, unfortunately. Go for it, Violet. Violet, you don't have to put up your hand. You can just ask questions.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just wanted to turn on my mic. So in
Yeah,
regards
we
to
can hear you.
okay, in regards to a mission statement, so you want us to address it in a manner that we maybe write a question, then we answer that based on what we've picked up or what we think it relates.
I'm worried that that's going to take too long. So for me,
Okay.
what I would do, so let me show here, sorry to interrupt. vision and mission statements. So I'm just going to steal the goodwill mission statement. Okay, dignity of life, and then I'll go one that answers the first question. Two, in terms of this, this is not the greatest mission statement, but you'll find where that answers question one, where it answers question two. For example, you could say that that's their philosophy around the full potential. Obviously, this is a non-profit, so you're not going to really see stuff about long-term profitability, etc. So each of these mission statements, so our mission is to feed America, one, that's our reason for existence. In terms of how we do it, a wide network, and then, to end hunger, which is their fight for. So all we need to see is that you've addressed each of the elements. These aren't, I always feel very reluctant to comment about other companies' missions, because these are very personal to them. But you can see that some of these don't address all the elements. I don't know if that makes sense, Violet.
No, it
So
does
write
make
it,
sense.
and then go one for questions. So write out the questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then write your own mission statement. And above each of these, go and write the number that the question applies to. Okay. Is everyone okay with that?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Okay, guys, and then the next one that I thought we needed to look at. This generally makes an appearance, but again, we've been bowled some strange ones in terms of some of the exams that we've had. But if I had to study the first and last stuff I would study, and I will share this with you guys, is this. But I'm as blind as you when it comes to this exam. So these are guaranteed. These, yeah, almost. This should be guaranteed, but they ask different variations on the theme. But the shared value and inclusive business, again, guys, it is a guess, because I want to go through some others with this as well. But so we are looking at sustainability, and so yeah, let's look at some of these. This one is the stakeholder map, which they threw at us in is it the face-to-face test? And was that it?
It was the face-to-face test. My full-times had this.
Yeah.
My full-times had this, yeah.
Which we asked last year that they exclude, because it's not relevant to the real world, but they bold this in our direction again. And then, yeah, obviously the one that they ask is this one here, shared value and inclusive business. Yeah, so here, shared value and inclusive business. Again, guys, obviously shared value is where the organization benefits. And this was in your assignment, and all of you did really well in your assignment with this one. It's where the organization does business, so in a way that they look after the shareholders, but they also look after broader stakeholders. And then inclusive business is where you look at your traditional stakeholders and you find people that aren't part of your business. So going, for example, into bottom of the pyramid, bringing people into your business. Samsung launching entry-level phones. So you have a range of phones that middle income, people who at a higher level income, and also people at lower income can earn. So it is about bringing in people all the time. So this one, yeah, I would hope they would ask us this. Yeah, so you can write very briefly around the theory. Again, just give us something to work with in the exam. The other one that they've bolded us before was, yeah, where is that? where is that? Yeah, the integrated reporting one, where in terms of the modern reporting in the past, annual reports used to be financial reports. Now those reports go for the 4 Ps. Oh, and that's the other thing, guys. If you get stuck and you don't know what you're writing, just write 4 Ps. Remember, people, planet, profit, and purpose. Now, purpose has to do with ethics and governance. Planet, obviously, the natural environment, and then profit is to do with the shareholders, and then which one did I miss out? People, which has to do with the social component. So if you get stuck in terms of that, just write. Yeah, it's now the quadruple bottom line, Tunzi, but if you want to stick with the triple bottom line, that's fine. So if you don't know the answer, at least bold that at us so that we have got something to work with, because I will mark those. I will mark those because they relate somehow to here. I don't know what your comment is about that one.
No, I totally agree with
a
you. I
default
totally
one.
agree because all of those you can kind of work into answers and practically apply them. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Rather than, because I often have students write nothing. I always say to them, try and write something, try and explain something, try and apply something, maybe something we've spoken about or discussed or something you understand rather than leaving it blank. Totally agree with what you're saying. I'll say the same thing.
Please. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, spot on. And for this particular section, guys, if you don't know the answer, please just put in, and it's now the 4 Ps, it's purpose, people, planet, profit, and I don't know which one I've left out now. So people, planet, profit, and purpose, guys. Just remember those things. Put it into your head. If you write those 4 Ps, and then don't go and confuse it with the 5 Ps in Learning Unit 1, because that will literally make me cry. Okay, just remember those 4 Ps for this unit. So for this particular learning unit. Okay. And then, yeah, in terms of integrated reporting, yeah, the strategic focus, I think the key thing here is that notion that it is the balance between profits now but profits in the future, which is really your definition of sustainability. And part of this, remember, the modern definition of strategic success is creating value for all your shareholders. You can add those kinds of things in here, guys. We have to find marks when you write that as part of this particular learning unit. And then connecting in terms of the models, the external factors, realizing that you're part of a bigger picture and that you have to cater for all your stakeholders. And remember, there's a shift away from shareholders to stakeholders. And then obviously look at a future orientation. It really is about the kind of things you would ultimately have put into your vision and your mission statement, and it has to reflect here. And then also talking to your stakeholders and then looking at those specific quality elements. But guys, if you talk stakeholders, if you give us the 4 Ps, we have to consider it in terms of this chapter, because you're not wrong. You're not wrong whatsoever. Everyone okay with that chapter? So those 3 elements are the ones that concern me. Know who your stakeholders are, know the integrated reporting, and then obviously know shared value and inclusive business as well. Everyone okay with that? Yeah. So this is the painful one, because when we look at Learning Unit 1, we often see this one, and then they'll say the 3 core tests, because we know there are 5 tests. Please just excuse. So in terms of this one, the first learning unit, yeah, what we've seen in the past, what they've asked in the past, it could literally be every single slide in here that they ask. This has been asked before. Why do we need strategic management? But remember, guys, you've done this in first, second, and third year. You guys have businesses. So why do we need a strategic direction? Why do we need strategic management? You have to be able to write around that. So in terms of this, yeah, so the first one, the 5 Ps, I would know. Please remember to now not think of this as the 4 Ps that I've just mentioned. So the 5 Ps: strategy as plan, overall direction. We know that as possession, in terms of how you compete in a market, it has to do with Porter's stuff. And then obviously as a perspective, where the past is a good indication of the future. And then employ that misdirection. This was in the assignment. A lot of people got the example for the strategy as a ploy wrong. Remember, it's misdirection. It's what magicians do to distract your attention while the real trick happens at another place, guys. And then a pattern over time. So essentially, businesses learn to do business in a particular way. When I say Mercedes-Benz, we know what their pattern is. When I say BMW, we know what their pattern is. So generally, companies will stay within a particular pattern. So the 5 Ps for me are non-negotiable. But as much as the 5 Ps, please also know inside out, outside in, non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. And then, yeah, so the inside out, outside in. And then this one they love asking as well. Yeah, the different perspectives. Yeah, the test for a winning strategy. So remember, goodness of fit, essentially how well the strategy links the business with the external environment. The competitive advantage test. How does this strategy make us better than those people that are in the ring with us? Then your performance test, and it's about those returns, etc. Guys, and then the social impact test, and that's part of part of that idea of looking after your stakeholders, etc., and people excluded from the stakeholders. And then the natural environment, in terms of taking care of the natural environment. And then the other one they may ask are the strategic paradoxes. So in the test, so in the supplementary test, they spoke about analyze the 5 strategic paradoxes that a company is faced with. Now, my students, because they see 5, they automatically jump to Porter's 5 forces. Be very careful of these silly things, guys. The paradoxes, remember, how much do we learn from the past versus worry about what we predict about the future? Intended and emergent strategies, we would have done this in the assignment. Intended strategies, obviously part of a strategic plan. Emergent strategies, those that we make up because your iPhone starts creasing because it's not as foldable as you think, so you have to re-strategize. How do you like that segue into your example, Gaston? Guys, and then inside out, outside in, you would have learned that already. And then profitability versus sustainability. And how much do we focus now on keeping our shareholders happy versus how we worry about keeping future shareholders happy? So those are the 3 there that you are likely to see. You will definitely see one of those. Okay, so the 5 Ps of strategy, the 5 paradoxes, and those tests. So for me, once I've sorted out these priority ones, once I've got the non-negotiables into my head, those are the kinds of things that I would look at. Sources of what am I talking about? Competitive analysis. I don't even know. Sorry, guys. Where did I steal that question from? My apologies. And there's that as well. I did see this, but I don't know where I stole that from. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I think I might have typed the wrong thing there, and I really don't know what it is. Em, can you think offhand? Because it's a typo there. Oh gosh.
Would not be with a winning test or strategy.
No, it was sources of competitive intelligence. I'm
Oh,
clueless. Sorry.
CRBR, competitive intelligence business. CRBR, that hasn't
Yeah,
been tested at all. I think that
yeah.
might be in it as well. CRBR. We
It
did big
is that.
data.
Yeah, it's yeah. Intelligence, source of competitive intelligence. My
Yeah, business
apologies for that.
intelligence, competitive intelligence. We actually haven't seen that. I haven't seen any of that come up, so that could very well come up. On our
Yeah,
full
we
team
haven't
space, I
seen
haven't
this
seen
in a
any of it come
while,
up
guys.
either.
Yeah.
Competitive
So
intelligence
this
business.
could be. Go for it, Em.
I think our competitive intelligence, BRCR, big
Yeah,
data.
that's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have I now opened the right one? Strategic decision enablers. So in terms of this, guys, yeah, this used to be their default until 2, 3 years ago. So again, yeah, that I would definitely look at those in terms of. Oh no, what am I looking at? My apologies. They've also asked us questions around big data. And if you see stuff around big data, it's just the idea that that data is generated all the time, and we need to make sense of that. Sorry, it's this one. They used to automatically um, default to this one, but they haven't in the recent past looked at that. But guys, again, this was in your assignment, and I would suggest you look at those assignment questions and just be ready if they are your assignment questions. They also like, there it is. My apologies. Sorry, my brain is really not great today. They are the sources of competitive intelligence. They have in the past asked the full cycle. It's either the full cycle or this. This was in the assignment. We haven't seen that in a long time. The rest of this stuff, guys, it's not stuff that I find important. I haven't seen
Source
this
systems,
question,
I've
for
seen them ask
example.
before. Sorry to jump in. I'm just looking at your slide. I
Go
remember
for it.
source
Yeah.
systems. I just remember seeing that slide. I've also seen
Okay.
it in one of the papers that I was looking through, like a past paper, the source systems. Here we go.
Okay.
I've seen them ask that, totally random.
Yeah. Okay. And it's so out of the blue when that happens, because for me, I wouldn't even think about that, guys, as an option. The others that I put in would be, this one they love asking, the capability life cycle and dynamic capabilities. They love asking that. It is the internal environment. It's toward the end of the chapter. We haven't seen a value chain analysis. Have you seen one recently? I haven't
No, I
seen a
haven't seen
value
one.
chain
Haven't
analysis.
seen anything my side
Uh,
either on that.
and the truth is they should be doing value chain analysis questions in supply chain, not here. Um, yeah. It's so difficult, guys. Yeah, so this is the capability life cycle. So it talks about the need for dynamic capabilities. It talks about the need to constantly refresh your organization so that you are relevant in the organization. And we know that capabilities allow us to maximize what we can get out of our resources. And the truth is that when we look at our resources, they are completely valueless until we have capabilities to capitalize on those. So the need to constantly update and reinvent yourself in terms of capabilities is absolutely essential. And remember, dynamic capabilities, the ability to constantly remain relevant, and then the capability life cycle. I've seen them ask this a number of times, new capability, improving it, and then at some point you will have to replace it because it would have become stale. Yeah, guys, so those are my predictions. But with any exam, the only ones I can predict with 100% are those two. I don't know what you think about that prediction, Em.
Well, I kind of thought I knew what was going on until the test was thrown at us. And then I felt like I
Well, this
completely
test,
predicted
guys, I
wrong.
can tell
So
you
I'm
what was
exactly the
in the
same as
test.
you.
Yeah,
Also a bit
so
nervous.
3 approaches for developing a vision. Um, who knows why they would ask that? It is completely irrelevant. It is something that no one cares about in the real world. We were told they were going to make this more relevant and topical. The first one is the 5 strategic paradoxes, and then shared value, and then in terms of each of the dimensions and shared value, an example from the case study. So that was our test. 2 of them I didn't mind, but the third one, the third one blew me out of the water. When I saw that, I thought, okay, I know nothing about predicting this exam. Guys, have you got any questions at this stage? So your case studies are here. You would have seen that I shared this and where the answers are. I don't know, Em, have you shared this with your students? These papers that I've put together? Well, stolen. Has everyone seen these? So what I did is I just took each of the papers and suggested and found the answers. As Emily left the chat. Oh, that's fine. Oh gosh. Okay. Guys, can I just see who has seen these? Binashi, have they shared these? Have Theo and okay. How do I share this widely? Because I'm going to end up with a bazillion. I'm going to end up with a bazillion WhatsApps. Guys, who else hasn't seen this? Okay. For me, Mahir, is to know my theory off by heart. Okay, so I would know my theory off by heart, and then what I would do is once I know my theory, I would, in terms of those questions that are here and those suggested questions, but in the order of the predicted questions, and then in terms of these. So again, we have to assume that past must be some. Triple bottom line is Tunzi. When you see triple bottom line, no, that's fine. Did you share these with your students? These papers that I put together and where the answers are in my
No, I
slides.
didn't share with the answers yet. I was waiting until after the collab, but I did share what head
Okay.
office sent, so exactly the case studies and the essays. I was waiting until
Yeah,
after
and
the
these,
session.
sorry, and these that I cobbled together.
No, haven't shared them at all. I just wanted the 100% go ahead
Okay.
from you, and then I would share.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Oh,
I will
please.
share
Yeah.
now this
Please
evening.
share it. Please share it. I have a couple, guys. So to try and answer your question, Nate, yes, trust in my slides, except, no, but also trust in my slides. But where I referred to excerpts from the textbook, please just have a glance at those. But yeah, I will send it to the lecturers. No, the lecturers have got these, guys. And then, if the lecturers can just share it, I will tell people on the group. So it's this one. So what I would do is I would work out answers to those first 2, and then I would work out answers to each of these, guys. And then once I've got some idea of the questions, I would then try and link it to the case studies. Can I also just say, there's no harm in studying everything. In terms of the mark allocation, did I put hold on, I think on these I did. Let me just find one where right. So if we look here, now if they are nice to us, they will try and give us equal allocations to these marks. But you can see the 2 that essentially, the one over there that gets a lot of marks, the macro analysis, and then the other one, is this Porter's analysis. So that's why I say I would spend most of my time there. But source of competitive intelligence. Sorry, guys, that's what I saw. I would spend most of my time in those two, even if, and it is awfully difficult when you guys do it in this order for us. But I would do those questions that I know, and I will work around the rest of them. In terms of the marks, there are generally 6 questions, so roughly 20 minutes per question. So they generally are 6 questions, roughly 20 minutes per question. I would do 15 minutes per question though, and where those really juicy questions are where you can get a lot of marks, I would spend the extra bits. So maybe focus on 15 minutes a question, and then look at allocating a bit more time to those questions, the first 2 that we have there, the pestle analysis and Porter's 5 forces. Nepo, I don't know if that answers your question. I did say to my students to work on about 20 minutes per question. Okay, because it's 120 and 120 marks and 120 minutes. So 20 minutes per question. If the question is out of 10, so let's just take one of these here that's out of 10, the macro theory. So this theory, I think they asked you to identify 3 macro factors. So I would identify the 3 macro factors. I would explain the essence of those factors. So this lovely picture of mine that I shared, I would then give the theory, and then obviously I would link it to examples to this. So you can say that in terms of politics, it has to do with changes in government, it has to do with the philosophies of government, and it's often reflected through, and you will link this to your case study. So if you give 2 points in describing the 3 of these, then you're absolutely fine. I don't know that stuff, guys. When is the exam date and time? Sorry, that's the one thing I don't track.
Let me just double check. I've got it in my office. I can tell you I've got it in my office. Just hold
on. Somebody in my group will have it. Oh gosh, now, Gaston, now you are being you again. Guys, don't believe anything Gaston puts up here. Okay. 28 June at 8 a.m. Okay.
Sorry, I just ran back to my office. It's the 28th of June. But please just make sure there's a PAS document. Your PAS document doesn't change, because we've just had our big uproar. Our first year paper, the date has been changed about 2 weeks. I don't know if you saw that. The first year paper was changed.
I'm going to reserve. I'm going to reserve.
It's a big uproar. Big uproar on our side as well.
I'm going to reserve my comment because I've been reported saying some annoying things. It's cool. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say next.
All our blood is boiling.
Okay, let me just. It has. No, let me just stop there. Otherwise, I'll be accused of being not professional again. Okay, does that make sense? In terms of 10 questions, in terms of Porter's, a brief description of what we mean by power to the buyers, power related to existing competitors, so each of those, and then that will give you your 10. Okay, so that's why I said study 2 of each of those bits under the slides. Sorry, let me just go down.
Also, another way, sorry, just to jump on here, another way that I always tell my students to learn is to go to the front of every learning slide set. They'll have learning outcomes. If you can answer the learning outcomes, that's where they get their questions from, like how their sections that they need to cover. So if you go to, I don't know, I'm sure Hedy's slides as well, my slides, the front of every chapter, the learning, this like the slide set will have the learning outcomes for the chapter. A very nice way to kind of like gauge where you should be learning or how you should be learning would be your learning outcome or objectives. There we go, learning objectives. Yeah. It's a nice way if you like totally overwhelmed and not just so aware.
Unfortunately, sometimes these cover absolutely every single facet. So I agree with M. You can turn those into questions, but please just start with our priorities, okay? But Emily is right. This should give you an idea, but my goodness me, it addresses every aspect as well. Okay. So the exam strategy, in my mind, going forward, learn those bits that we predicted off by heart. I will share that. Learn those off by heart. Know the theory. Know how to link it to the case studies. And write generic stuff. So write yourself a generic mission statement. I mean, and my kids are English, and they all give the same speech in grade 9, sorry, in grade 10, 11, and 12. You know, my oldest son spoke about the spinnacle. I don't know what my baby talks about. So it's a bit like that. So you have your own spinnacle where you've written your generic answer, and then you just plug the rest in. Okay, maybe that made no sense what I just said, but my kids struggled with Afrikaans despite me being Afrikaans. So I would learn that first. I would then go to the questions in these papers. I would definitely work out answers to those. I'll make sure that you get my slides, and then I will go to the different learning outcomes.
Can I just pop on? I know my students for the test, we spoke about the test, like the layout of the test. It's not like what you see in first year and second year. I think that there was a bit of confusion because you work off a rubric. So the mark allocation per question will be on the rubric and not on the actual question. So just a little thing that could throw students off. Just the layout of the paper might be different to what you've seen in first year and second year. And I found my third years, it helped them a lot knowing what to expect when they saw the layout. Otherwise, it totally like throws you off to what you're going to see, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you have to look at this, guys, where the marks are. Okay.
So go to your rubric first.
Answers, but you can see in terms of that they want theory, they want application. They want theory, they want application. Okay, so have a glance at this, but have a glance at this beforehand, so that when you get to the exam, this is not foreign to you. But Em is right. This is absolutely everything. It makes our lives easier when you give us something to work with. It makes our lives very difficult when you give us nothing to work with. Okay. So just the exam strategy, in my mind, work out those predicted questions, work out the questions in terms of these, look at the outcomes and create questions around those. And yeah, I'm going to say trust my slides, but honestly, I think you can trust M's slides as well. But trust my slides. They are comprehensive. But remember, in my slides, guys, I refer to bits and pieces in the yeah, Gaston's going to fail, guys. He's told us already that he wants to come back and haunt me next year. But you'll see I do this kind of thing in my slides, just to refer you to a page, okay? But trust my
slides are very similar. I just got a few pretty pictures, but mine are exactly the same. Very similar.
Sorry guys. Yeah, mine is not going to win Miss Universe awards. I can promise you that. And they're not slides; they're summaries of the textbook. I'm not allowed to say that. Tunzi, anything in Learning Unit 2, anything to do with sustainability, you can write about people, profit, and those ones. Anything in sustainability. Obviously, you know the answer. Don't go write people, planet, profit, purpose. But anything in Learning Unit 2, if you don't know the answer, throw those at us. So it's more than measuring and reporting. Anything that you don't know in Learning Unit 2. Because we have to, you have to do the application, guys.
Half the mark application is application. You have to apply. If not more than half the mark application is application. You have to apply.
So you can talk about how they focus on the social elements within the case study. Okay. Right, guys, we'll get them. So I'll send it to different people that have sent, and if you guys can put it on the WhatsApp group, that would be fine. You're going to share the exams, but
Yeah, yeah.
what
I
I'll
will
do
share.
is I'll also,
I've got all of
yeah,
these,
just in case,
so
yeah,
I'll share
guys,
now
can I
after
just
the
ask?
session.
Okay, fantastic. Guys, can I please ask that somebody from Theo's group also send me a WhatsApp just in case, so I can send you the slides and you can upload it onto his group, as well as someone from Kim's group. Send me a WhatsApp, sir, and I'll share this, and then you guys can share it widely. Can I ask that I don't have to send it to 100 people, guys?
I'll chat to Kim because I see Kim every day on campus. So I'll chat to Kim
Yeah,
and
that's
remind her about her class
fantastic.
if she hasn't already done it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Somebody's just sent me something for Theo. So please, guys, if you get it, just upload it onto the group. Okay, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Guys, any questions from your side? Because I don't know how to do these kind of exam prep things without, yeah, I really don't know. Because in the past, we could have looked at the outcomes, but to learn all those outcomes is important. But let's be realistic. You guys all work, therefore we need to focus and know what we're going to do first and last. It's a pleasure, Lennon. Okay, pleasure. Um, um, I don't think it's rote learning. For me, yeah, I hate the idea of rote learning. It's about understanding, and that's why we get rubrics. If you can show understanding, that's why this rubric is absolutely fantastic. So I don't want to say rote learning, because what the rubric gives us, and let me just find the rubric, it allows us to measure understanding. So if you don't get the words perfectly, I can see that you've understood. Cheers, Lennon. I definitely can use it when marking. So we don't know which lecturer is going to mark what. They nationally divided up. So and generally, I don't know who's I'm marking. Okay. I don't know if that answered your question, Courtney. Rote learning with understanding. Oh, golly. Guys, anyone else? Right, everyone. Good luck. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
You're a
It's a
great
pleasure.
Dr.
Emily,
Winnie.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you so much for helping. Cheers,
Pleasure.
guys. We're
Anytime.
going to be fine. Our WhatsApp group is still on fire, guys. Remember, you ask for questions on the WhatsApp group. People can share. I promise you a lot gets answered on our WhatsApp group and the different WhatsApp groups. Okay. Pleasure, Steph. Pleasure. Oh, Gaston, I was well behaved. I was told to be more professional,
He
and
was on
I'm
his best
desperately
behavior.
trying.
Best
I
behavior.
was. One person calls me unprofessional, and then I'm told that I have to be more professional. So we
No, we
working
need to have a
towards the
sense of humor.
lowest.
We can't be boring. We need
Yeah,
to have a
no,
bit
we're
of a
working
sense of
to the
humor.
lowest common denominator now. So let me stop recording because I really am.